This black belt submitted his blue belt student a lot. Hello class, grab a seat. My name is Professor Jedi. Welcome to my sophomore effort. Alright, Jiu-Jitsu. Let's crack right into it. Slap and bump to start things off. Some pretty solid gym etiquette here. Our blue belt attempts an arm drag to double leg. Unfortunately, I'm seeing too much hip separation here. See, on takedown attempts, you want to get your hips as close to theirs as possible. It activates max leverage mode, which is what I was telling your mom last night. Our blue belt makes another big mistake looking down at the ground. This will absolutely neuter your posture, allowing for easy guillotine attempts like this one. Maybe if you watched more Andrew Tate, you'd know that a real high value man is not afraid of eye contact. Our black belt goes for a 9,000 IQ play, sliding his left arm underneath the armpits, looking to lock up a darce. One of the sexiest submissions in all of jiu-jitsu. All he has to do now is get some hip to hip action, which is going to tighten the noose, and that's all she wrote. So who is this black belt, you ask? Well, his name is Jordan. He actually teaches jiu-jitsu, and if you guys are trying to step up your game or just watch some crisp jiu-jitsu, you definitely got to check out his channel. It's linked down below. But in for a penny, in for a pound, let's get back to the ground. Our blue belt Daniel enters the sweat zone, but unfortunately lets his leg get caught up by Jordan's butterfly guard. Daniel looks for a backstep pass, looking to avoid the sweep. Unfortunately, Jordan does have a tight grip on things, allowing him this cheeky back take. But Daniel is no slacker here, walking his shoulders high over Jordan's, looking to flatten him on the mat. But just like Floyd Mayweather, Jordan be rolling with the punches, transitioning into the Kimura trap position, which I'm honestly waiting for the devs to balance. It is a little overtuned. Now you can actually tell a lot about a coach by how he rolls with his students. Something that you may notice about this is that even though he's rolling with a white belt, he's still taking it as a learning opportunity. You can tell that he's using a very minimal amount of strength for these submissions, sweeps, etc., which is benefiting not only him, making his technique sharper and crisper, but also his partner, because he's able to get some movement in. He's not just brutally having his face ground into the mats. Now, unfortunately, not everybody's like that. We all know that one guy at our gym. Just stop it, man. You're not helping anybody. Jiu-Jitsu Jordan pummels for a right underhook, using that to flatten Dan on the mat, bringing his right foot up to his butt cheek and sliding his weight to his left, passing through Daniel's butterfly guard like a hot knife through butter. He has a tight underhook and his chest low to the mat, which allows him to basically ignore quarter guard, passing right through into side control. But I absolutely love what Dan does here. Framing with his forearms to create space, he then bridges to his left, looking to momentum reverse Jordan. I absolutely love this move. Unfortunately, black belts be it black belts. Jordan latches on the opportunity, trapping the bottom arm and feeding his right hand into the armpit. This is something I like to call the oh my gosh, because that's about all you can say when somebody slaps it on you. 10 out of 10 would hit again. And we're going again, and immediately we see an attempt was made at offsetting Jordan's base, but Jordan is quick to react and Daniel doesn't respond by sequencing it into some other offensive movement. And a pet peeve of mine that I'm seeing Daniel do a lot is this open elbow situation. If his elbow positioning looks something a little more like this, I guarantee he'd instantly be much more hard to sweep. As it is, Jordan has an easy time breaking into Dan's house, metaphorically, where he goes for a shin on shin to matador sweep. Yeah, you heard me right, matador sweep. Finesse, flick of the wrist, baby, whoosh. But instead of inverting to come up on top, decides to make a pit stop in the truck position. And it almost looks like he's reading Mastering the System right now. Got a calf slicer, catch and release, electric chair, release. And now for the base submission. Look out, Tornado Alley, we got a big old boy brewing here. He's almost about to get the finish, but Dan is doing his very best to fight off that left hand, keeping Jordan from getting that final crank in. Sadly, the position he's in is not ideal, and Jordan inevitably gets the finish. But Daniel is here to get his money's worth. Love to see it. Fall off the horse, get right back on, baby. That's the only way you're actually gonna get better. Unfortunately, he makes the mistake of going high with his grips before addressing the grip that Jordan has on his legs. Jordan goes for the arm and guillotine, which is a great way of sweeping people, but instead of trying to finish it, he uses his right butterfly hook to establish the top position, and fluidly transitions to a right underhook to ensure that he stays on top. Now what we are seeing here, class, is something that I like to call the finesse effect. Basically, all the moves that you and I have to consciously think about step by step in order to execute, he is doing on the fly and chaining them all together, that everything really flows together. It's that je ne sais quoi. Something you gotta experience to understand. We cut back, and our intrepid blue belt has found himself in the grips of another OMG. But he is not about to let Jordan go 2 for 2 on that move, so he walks his shoulders high, denying Jordan the double-double. This may come off as a little un-Canadian. Jordan traps both of his hands with his hands on the opposite side. This is called straitjacket control, and the idea is to trap one of your opponent's arms. I'm honestly not sure why he's going for it. It's clearly a fake move. It clearly doesn't work, and I certainly have never been tapped by it before. for, like, ever. Jordan has the right arm trapped and a really tight Kimura grip, which is forcing Daniel's shoulders into the pocket. This allows him to kick that right leg over and triangle his legs, locking up the sauciest triangle that exists in the entirety of jiu-jitsu. From here, it's a simple matter of grabbing that arm to pull his hips forward, cinching that noose tight. Slap, bump, grab some rum, and let's get over this hump. Our boy Dan clearly loves to live dangerously. It looks like he's going for a straight ankle attempt, but Jordan, always quick with it, pummels his hook in between the legs, preventing the squeeze that Dan needs to make a solid attempt. With control of the right foot, I would probably come up for a sweep, but Jordan decides to play the Uno reverse card. Dan does a good job of rolling with the movement, and as Jordan readjusts, he doesn't really clamp down with his hips. This allows Dan to continue the spin, pulling his knee out, which takes away any threat of a footlock. Honestly, most blue belts, when put in that situation, would absolutely freeze up and either tap immediately or get hurt. So definitely gotta give Dan some props on the composure that he's able to keep in this situation. From butterfly guard, he looks for a saucy little inverted armbar a la Marcelo Garcia. But Jordan does the right thing by dropping his hips low, pulling his head high, which allows him to free his arm. He then uses his chest to trap the hand, pinning it to the ground, which allows him to bring his other arm to the party, locking up a Kimura, which he uses to pass the guard. And instead of coming up to side control, he switches his hips, going north-south, finishing that way. I swear, ever since I saw Fedor hit this in Pride, this has been my favorite way of finishing the Kimura. It's just too saucy. Anyways, that's it for the video.
Subscribe.